Welcome you all again to Black Voices. My name is Talia Cotton, and today I have with us the illustrious, the fabulous, the great, the creme de la creme of novelists,
Oh,
Miss Joan Vassar. And so let's jump in, let's get started. I do not want to waste this moment with this fabulous author. For the viewers who have never heard of you, who is Joan Vassar?
I would think I'm just an average, not Joe, but Joan. Uh, I work 40 hours a week. I'm a mother, a grandmother, and a person who writes books that I hope uplift the Black experience and tell about Black life, Black love, all of those things, Black family, Black community as I see them. And I hope that when people read my books, they get a sense of a love for the character and my love for uh, Black people, myself included. Yeah.
So, what drove you to write your first novel?
I think what drove me to write my first novel, I think first, let me say, I think I always was a writer. I think that has become more clear the older that I get in understanding myself. Um, but I think what drove me to absolutely write is that I love romance. I love fluff. I love heartfelt, heartwarming novels, that talk about being in love. And while I read both white and Black novels, I felt, especially in my younger years, that a lot of the novels reflected not Black life, not Black love. And so when I wanted to read a feel good novel, it was, the characters never looked like me. And I think that was the beginning of pushing me. And I think for a lot of artists, no matter what genre you write in, if you're an artist of color, it is probably something that will drive you because you want to see yourself represented, even if when you're young, you don't know how to articulate that. I think Black literature is important because it is for to lead back to the previous question, it is about seeing yourself in all facets of this life that you live in this country, um, even abroad. I think I think Black literature, or the telling of Black stories, I think is important because without it, you don't really it becomes this narrow thing that is absolutely told by people who are not of color. And you can get caught up in thinking that these things are true when in fact they're not.
I, as a lit major, I've read from Shakespeare, Beowulf, things of that nature, and rarely, I think the first Black book that I read in the seventh grade was, I think her name is Mildred Taylor, Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. And it was the
Mhm.
first time that I actually identified with a character. Like, she was a little brown girl and I was a little brown girl. She had family issues and I had family issues. She loved her family and her family loved her, and I loved my family and my family loved me. And so it was really the first time that I really understood that, wait, Black people write and Black people have a story to tell, and I can tell my own story too, and it's valid. And so just for me, especially coming from a home that my mother was a reader as well, and so because she was a reader, I was a reader. Just seeing that was, I think, the first time I really got a sense of, oh, Black people tell stories. So I think it's really important to see Black novelists, Black writers, which is one of the reasons why I contacted you for this interview, because I want people to know, hey, they're out there and they're making masterpieces.
I think it impacts Black culture in America because I think when people that are not Black pick up these stories, they can, if they're willing to, first of all, if they pick them up, then they're willing to step away from the stereotypes, you know, because it's hard on Black artists because we read everything. Everybody doesn't read us. So I think when people pick up novels that are outside of being of color, they have an opportunity to step away from the stereotypes.
I just saw this video interview from Cicely Tyson. God rest her soul, rest in peace.
Hmm.
And
Amen.
she did an interview with Gail King, and she was talking about one of her first movies, and she said how the interviewer said that he had a bit of a prejudice. He could see his bigotry because he felt some type of way when the black father called, no, I'm sorry, when the black son called his father daddy. And it was because and so she asked him, she said, what does your son call you? What do your children call you? And he said, daddy. And so she realized he didn't see black people as human.
Right,
And so for
right,
me, I think a representation of black stories humanize us. You know, I put on my pants just like you do. I have the same issues, the same problems, the same loves, the same joys. And I am more, one of the things I like to say that black people are not a monolith. We are not all the same. We do not all share the same
right,
experience. And so seeing black stories from a multitude of black writers lets you see just like your race and your culture is different, so is ours. And I think that's so important, especially for this new generation to see that we are more than just the stories you read. Like we are, especially for Black history, we're more than the Mount Rushmore of Black people. There were more people that is impacting Black life and Black culture than just the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X's, the Rosa Parks, the Frederick Douglass, the Sir John Truth, and they are important. And that's why I said they are on the Mount Rushmore, of Black history, but there's more. And then also I want my students to read these stories because they can see, oh, there are new people that are standing out, from Michelle Obama's great story, you know, Trevor Noah's information or his memoir about apartheid in South Africa, and then your novel Black. Um, how are Black culture and Black family represented in your novel, especially, of course, the Black series, and your novel, Unfortunately Francine. So, once again, how are Black culture and the Black family represented in your novels? And you can, if you want to, you can talk about Black culture and then Black family, or you can combine it.
So for me, I think one of the things that is real is that I have written a series um, that takes place in the 1800s, leading out of the 1850s, going into the 1860s and towards Civil War. Um, so what I have attempted to do is take a look at my own family, right? And other families of color, Black families that I know that are loving. And while nobody is perfect, everyone is together and trying to make it. And my novels depict Black love, um, uh, Black family, Black community. And also, this is something that we don't really touch on, but it depicts Black sexuality, that intimacy between Black people. And this was important to me. Um, and you want to keep in mind that while my characters are fiction, they are likened to real people: Nat Turner, Sojourner Truth, uh, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Malcolm X. I mean, it spans. So while my characters are fictional, it is important to realize that real people have done this job, have decided that they are going to move forward and fight for equality in this country. And so I think that my novels depict what is real while I do tell a fictional story, right? And I think that's important.
Okay, and so one of the things that I find, what I love about your novel, Black, um, Elbert, The Uncaged Mind, Emancipating James, Anthony Unshackled, and then your upcoming novel, which we will definitely have to, jump into. The characters remind me of my uncles and my aunts and my mom and my big mama and my mud dear and my aunt
Yeah,
Essie Mae and and I love that
right,
and me in some parts too. And I love that. And I think even the women that I have recommended your books to, the Black women have loved it for that reason because it's like your family. I was
right.
so excited to read Anthony Unchained. I'm sorry, Anthony
Unshackled.
Unshackled.
Shack. Hmm.
Sorry about that. Anthony Unshackled, because it was like, I miss my family. I'm ready to see my Uncle Black and see my Uncle Jeremiah and what Uncle Albert been doing. Hopefully he not hurting nobody. Hopefully, where little Otis at? And I said exactly what I meant, where he at.
Right,
They're family for me. And so, I think that I didn't feel that way when I was reading some of my other, and I love some of my other writers that are some of my favorite, but I didn't feel that way when I read the Ravendale family, and
right,
they're from the past. They're from another novelist, white novelist, but I didn't feel that way. It was really entertainment. But with your books, for the first time in a long time, I felt invested. I felt like they were families. I wanted to see them succeed. I wanted their thoughts to live on. And I haven't felt that way about many of books. Miss Mildred Taylor's book, Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, felt that way. I felt that way about Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. And even though that took place in Africa, I still felt an investment in the clan and the community. I felt like I was a part of that, and I love that about Black and the Black series, and even unfortunately Francine with the themes that you're discussing. I felt like I was a part of it. Like they were talking with me. I was waiting
right.
for Uncle Black to say, "Hey, Talia, we missed you, honey. Are you coming to the Indy?" So, and I think for me, that's why Black voices are important. Because
Right.
if you're amplifying your Black voice, then I feel like my Black voice is being amplified along with you. Thank you for joining Black Voices Podcast. Be sure to watch part 2 of the interview with Joan Vassar next week. And check out the Black Series novels on Amazon. See you next week.